I'm Jesse and from GreenCars, and I'm here at the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association EV event, and I'm here with Summer, who's got a really unique type of EV. So, Summer, what kind of car is this?
This is a 64 Corvair, Chevy Corvair convertible. It's a Monza, if that matters. It's a rear engine car from Chevy in the 60s. Soon I'll be adding power steering to it and a collapsible steering column because it doesn't have a collapsible steering column. So that's about it. Upgraded the brakes for the most part.
Okay, sounds awesome. So when you say upgraded brakes, does that include like regenerative braking or anything like that?
Yeah, it's a rear motor car, so regenerative braking only works in the back. So it actually requires that you do some extra balancing of the braking with a brake bias system. But yeah, it does do regenerative braking, and I also can do one pedal driving if I want to.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So that's almost like a Tesla feature that's just in your really awesome car that you've got here. That's so cool. About how much horsepower does this thing have?
It has 120 horsepower and about 180 foot-pounds of torque. Comes out of a net gain Hyper 9 motor, which is one of those AC motors. You see them a lot. In fact, it's in that Mustang that's over there as well.
Oh, cool.
Pretty common for homebrew conversions. I just did this in my garage.
Wow. Okay, so you did all of this yourself. Wow. Okay, and so what's that process like of like start to finish doing something like this?
It's utterly overwhelming at first, but the internet's very helpful for sorting out all the options. So tons of different motor options that you can buy, tons of different battery options that you can get, and then the bits and bobs in order to make it work together you can buy, you get to choose. And so I just chose what I thought was a reasonably low risk setup, because it was my first one, and there are ways to do it for cheaper, and there are ways to do it to make the car faster. There are all kinds of different ways to do it. You just got to choose what based on your priorities, what your priorities are.
Gotcha. Okay. And so what would you say the 0 to 60 time is on this?
7 seconds. It's not a rocket.
Well, it's, I would say, plenty fast enough for your day-to-day kind of commute and stuff like that.
The speedometer is so optimistic. I've never actually measured it, so I wouldn't trust it anyway.
That sounds fine, So how much range do you get?
I get 100 miles if I'm ginger with it, but the way I drive it, about 90. And if I charge it up to 100%, which I've never actually done, I probably get maybe a little over 100 miles.
That's pretty good.
It doesn't shift, and so the motor is asked to spin at a high RPM on the freeway, which makes it a little bit less efficient.
Gotcha. Okay. And so how long does it take to usually recharge your vehicle?
It's another great question. I don't really know because I just plug it in when I go to bed and it's charged when I wake up. So somewhere less than 8 hours. I'd probably say like 6 or something like that.
I would say that's pretty good then. You just plug it in when you go to bed at night and you're ready to go the next morning. That's great. Can you give us a tour of the car? Kind of give us an overview of all the different components?
Yep. Up front, since this is a rear engine car, there's a lot of room up front, so the entire battery pack lives up front. It's got Tesla Model S modules from a 2015 Tesla that got off the internet. There's 7 of them in here, so it makes for just over 36 kilowatt pack. The gas gauge, I recently, after the car was running for a while, I made the gas gauge work to tell us what the battery level is, so that took some rewiring to do. In the middle of the car, I basically want the car to look stock because I respect the design from the designers and from Chevy, and so I try to make it as little change as possible, so there's no screen in there. So this is the net gain Hyper 9 motor. It's 120 horsepower. The motor that came in the car is 110, so it's really close to what was in the car, so it's nothing crazy. And I didn't have to reinforce the chassis or do anything magic in order to handle the extra power and torque. And that truss structure and everything like that is home designed and built, and so I designed all of that, and the motor controller's back there. Typically people water cool the motor controller, but since there's room for it there, I just stuck it there, and then underneath is a large heat sink that I deliberately chose to look like a finned oil pan because I didn't want people to know that this was an electric car. The only time people know is when we start to drive away and they're like, what the heck, why is it so quiet? And we tell them, and then they double take. So it's pretty cool.
So you're trying to keep it on the down low is what you're trying to say.
Totally, yeah.
Well, I think that's all the time we've got for today, but I appreciate your time and answering all these questions and telling us all about this car.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Yeah, have a good day.